I'm Dylan Bowden.
I'm Ryan Betson.
Tear your tickets, take your seats. It's time for PopCorn.
Sessions start at 9 a.m. every Friday morning on YouTube and podcast services around the world. If you want to join the conversation, head to facebook.com/thepopculturists and the social medias like the Instagrams, the Twitters, etc., etc. If you want to have the big conversation, come to facebook.com/groups/thepopculturists. Join us there, have a chat with our little community people, as well as the Discord chat. I don't know what the Discord thing is. It's not quite as simple as it should be. But if you really, really like what we do, you can head to patreon.com/thepopculturists. Maybe a tier there that interests you. Fuck, that took a lot of time.
We got there. How you doing?
I'm good, man.
That's good to hear. So, what have you been watching lately?
You're not going to jump into like, hey, this is the first episode, because not everyone has seen the pilots.
No, it's not the first episode, because there's 2 pilots out there, and if you know the secret codes, you can access them. It's called money. So what have you been watching?
I haven't been watching much lately, actually. I haven't watched any movies per se.
All right, get out.
Bad thing for a movies podcast, I know. I watched a documentary.
Were you eating popcorn while you were doing it? Just say yes.
Yes.
Okay, sure. Tell me about it.
So it was essentially a documentary about the Hulk Hogan sex tape.
Ooh.
And like sort of for those who don't know, Hulk Hogan had
watch the link below.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan had a sex tape, and it was released by a now shut down media outlet called Gawker. And it was also about the trials and sort of like where there was some sort of mishandling of things.
In the sex tape, or
no. In the sex tape, I'm pretty sure he held everything just fine.
Okay.
But it was sort of the other thing. So it turns out there was a high-profile guy backing the Hulk Hogan case, and this guy was actually attacked, quote unquote, by Gawker a couple of years before.
So
he just threw money at Hulk Hogan to win. Very interesting. And then sort of talk from that. I went to sort of the idea of free speech and where that all sort of sits, and talk about whether releasing something like that is that something that needs to be known in the public consciousness? Is that something of importance? You know, is this the fact that Hulk Hogan has a sex tape with his buddy's wife? Like, is that something that needs to be public knowledge? Very interesting documentary. Very interesting.
That needs to be front page news every day.
And it was.
For years.
Oh, for years?
Yeah.
Jesus. Now, you being the movie guy and all, I guarantee you've seen some movies this week.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan is in a lot of movies. Suburban Commando, you seen that one?
No.
Rocky 3?
Was it in Rocky 3?
Thunder Lips? Yeah, he's briefly in it. Movie guy. Yes and no. I'm starting to try to get into Wet Hot American Summer. Yeah,
this is something that's been on my Netflix queue, my list on Netflix for a very long time. It seems to have a cast that is just perfect for Betson.
It definitely does. It's got... Well, to start with, I watched the Netflix series, I think it was 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
Which was Wet Hot American Summer, The First Day of Camp.
Yeah.
And originally there was a movie called Wet Hot American Summer that came out like late 90s, early 2000s. And essentially it was the last day of camp. And it stars like all these famous comedic actors now, but they weren't very big at the time. Bradley Cooper, Paul Rudd, Amy Poehler, Chris Maloney's in it as well, Molly Shannon. And essentially it's directed and co-written by this guy called David Wayne. And I believe he stars in it as one of the main characters. He's like this gawky kind of teenager. But essentially, in the Netflix series, they play teenage campers.
The same characters, but they're clearly adults.
Yeah, so in the TV series, they're like we're all 16, 17, but they're like played by like 30 to 40-year-old actors. And then the first one was the same situation. So this is like, 17 years later, and so it's even funnier. And that's the first day of camp, so they look even older than they did on the last day of camp. And now the new one's come out on Netflix, and that's called 10 Years Later.
Yeah.
So I haven't started watching 10 Years Later because I went back to rewatch the original series, and then I was watching the movie just recently. And I think I've seen it before, or a lot of things from the movie they redo in the TV series, because there's specific scenes that I do remember.
Because there are like... Because the movie / series is set in the 80s, right?
1981.
1981. Because I did see an article this afternoon. It was like, you know, Wet Hot American Summer 10 years later. It's like, you know, in the 90s, whatever. I'm like,
I didn't think of that.
I'm like, ooh, that's tickled a fancy right
there.
there.
And it just makes fun of all those camp kind of movies. With the awkward teenager goes in and then he finds himself and the kids are away from their parents and all the hijinks they get up to. There's got the preppy guys in the other nearby camp. And there's one scene where he does like the big pep talk, like what we're going to do. They're playing softball, I think it is. He's like, what we're going to do is we're going to be scrappy little underdogs and we're going to lose to the very end. And at the very last moment, we're going to find this courage and make up some kind of crazy whacked out move that wins the game that makes no sense. And then they're like, well, we don't really like playing softball. Then the other team turns up and they're like, they don't want to play. It's like, okay, that's cool. They can go. And then they just drive. I was like, all right, don't worry about it. We're not playing a game anymore.
And like, it's funny that they've taken advantage of the trope, because I know when you watch most movies, the high school movies, there's clearly someone they're like, I think that, another teen movie did that with like the old woman that comes in there.
Yeah, the old.
I know that's taking the piss out of Pretty in Pink.
Yeah, Never Been Kissed.
Never Been Kissed.
Drew Barrymore tries to, and there's another one. Elizabeth Banks does that in this one, where she's like this undercover reporter for like this. I think it's called Rock and Roll World. It's like, what if we go to a camp and talk about the underground kind of world of school camps, and like, but this is a Rock and Roll World magazine. She's like, yeah, but we cover the world as well. It's called Rock and Roll World. And then she's like, you can't pass for a 16-year-old. And she's like, oh, can't I? And then she turns around and puts a clip in her hair and turns back and like, oh my god. And Paul Scheer from the League is like, and they just like repeat everything the other person says. Like, no, that can't happen. Oh my god, that's amazing. We doubted you. I don't know why you doubted you. It's hilarious. You gotta watch it. But that's what I've been watching. But another thing I've been watching, which kind of falls between Netflix, which is television, and popcorn eating and television, and that's HBO's Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah.
So I haven't had a chance to talk about this. We don't have much chance to talk about Game of Thrones, but are you up to date with Game of Thrones?
I finally am. Finally. So the last couple of weeks I've had this really bad trend where I've been a week behind. So we don't have, like, I personally don't have many free nights anymore.
So they cost a lot.
Thanks, Dad. With filming nights as well as streaming nights and whatnot, it doesn't leave me with many free days. So Monday night was normally the free night, and then something came up on a Monday, and I missed a week. Okay. So then, as a result, like the last 3 episodes have been behind. But then I was like, no. When I went to work this week on the Tuesday, they're like, no, you've got to watch Game of Thrones. They're like, so what do you think of Game of Thrones last? What do you think of Game of Thrones last night? And I'm like, oh my god, wasn't it really cool? And like they, Euron Greyjoy came and took over the other boats. And like, that was last week. And I'm like, yeah, I'm totally a week behind. And they're like, no, you've got to watch this week. So I did.
How cool was it?
It's fucking nuts. Nuts.
This one was called The Spoils of War, and it leaked early on the internet. Did you hear that? Before it even aired on HBO.
And I was like, nope.
Oh.
I'm a good boy these days.
It's so like just the way that they tell the story, and it always surprises you. They did it in the last episode where it set up that they were going to storm Castle Rock.
Yes.
And they were going to then take King's Landing, and they were all going to take the other place where the people live. Whatever. Anyway, you see them plan it all out. And this is what we're going to do.
So we won't do
boats. We're going to go here.
We won't go to King's Landing. We're going to send a boat to Dawn, I think it was.
Yeah.
And we're going to send people to Castle.
So you're like that?
Yeah, okay. That's right. The Unsullied go to
Castle Rock.
The Greyjoys go to Dawn.
Yep.
By the boats.
And so you got the plan. You're like, okay, this is the plan. We know what's going to happen. This is going to be cool. And then they destroy all the boats. So you're like, oh crap, the Dawn plan's out. And then they get to Castle Rock and it's all empty. And then they like attack them there as well. And you're like, what's going on? And then you see Jaime Lannister storm Dawn, and you see Cersei.
No, not Dawn. He storms
the Flower Kingdom. Highgarden. That's the one. So you see all these plans, and you see Cersei always plotting and things, but she doesn't tell you what's going to happen. So it's a surprise. Like, withhold that information, even though you see them plotting all the time. So when he goes there, it's a surprise. And the same as in this episode, where the Khaleesi is like, what do you think I should do?
Daenerys is her name.
The Khaleesi, mother of dragons.
This is something I was telling Dylan about before. So Josh, big fan of Game of Thrones. There was a while there back in the day where I used to call her Khaleesi, because I can remember Daenerys, and he just used to essentially beat it out of me. He's like, her name is Daenerys.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm like, yeah, Khaleesi. And he's like, no, her name is Daenerys. Khaleesi is her title. I'm like, sorry, Josh.
She has a long title now, so you don't have to repeat it all.
Just Daenerys. But yes.
But yeah, so she's like, what should I do, Jon Snow? And he's like, I don't suggest.
Oh yeah, because they're like, when she gets word of the boats being sunk and Castle Rock sort of gone bad, she's like, well, what do I do? And she's like, Jon Snow, what do you think? He's like, well, don't burn the fuck out of everyone, because it hardly seems like a good idea. It's gonna make you just as bad as everybody else. And she's like, okay. And then a little bit later, Theon rocks up out of a boat. They're like, hey, I need to speak to the Queen. Yeah, she's gone.
Well, no, because they were there, and then there's like rumblings, and I'm like, dragons are going to come, dragons are going to come. And it stayed a long time on the horizon.
There's going to be spoilers in this, obviously. Yeah.
So there's a long hold on the horizon. You can hear noise. And I thought it was dragons, but then it sounds like the rumblings of like...
Yeah, because I was rumbling, but it was like a T-Rex rumbling from like Jurassic Park. Yeah. And it's like, dragons don't do that.
Oh, they're strolling.
Yeah, and then you see the hill, and then you see the Dothraki, and I'm like, fuck yes. Even this alone is awesome. Definitely. And the Dothraki start fanging it down that hill.
Yes.
And everyone's like, scrambling.
Well, they all set up ready with their
I like they did that. They were all scrambling to get ready.
They're pretty ready.
Well, they're ready as they can be.
They scrambled afterwards. They got their asses whooped. And then I thought, okay, well, this is going to be it. Jaime Lannister's going to die because he doesn't retreat because he's a cool guy that has sex with his sister and kills little boys for pushing out the window.
Actual battle itself. You've just gone straight to Jaime Lannister at the end.
No, because during the battle, he's like, I'm not going to leave. Bron's like, do you want to get out of here? And he's like, no, I'm going to stay. So he's kind of fighting a little bit, but he's only got one hand, so he's not much help. And just kind of watching everything unfold as carnage. And he's kind of drawing people like, get over here, do the archers over here, do this, that, and that. And you're thinking, oh, wow, they're going to kill Jaime Lannister. Like, wow. And then even Tyrion comes on the hill and he's watching it from a distance.
And you can see Jaime plotting. He's like, fuck, don't do it.
Well, that's not even that. It doesn't even get to that. Then he sends Bronn off, and that one guy's like chasing him down. And you think Bronn's going to die. And then he runs off into the thing, like really running, really like girly, like off into the corner. You're like, man, this guy's a coward. And then that one Dothraki follows him and then gets impaled by the arrow, and it reveals
from
that he's
the
in
ballista or whatever it is.
Yeah, in the giant crossbow. It reveals it's in that, and then it unfolds, and you're thinking, how's he going to hit the dragon with one shot like that? And then the dragon comes in close to get him, and he shoots it, and it drops down. You're like, now they're going to kill the Khaleesi's going to crash. Then she lands. You're like, oh, this is all right. And then when she's like attending to pull it out, for those who don't know,
this is the exact retelling of what happened on Game of Thrones.
Yeah, but when she's pulling it out, and then you see Jaime Lannister see the spear, and then Tyrion's watching him, and he's watching her, and you're like, oh, they're gonna kill the Khaleesi. And I was so like, this is gonna be awesome. I hate the Khaleesi. I hate Daenerys because she's so up herself these days.
She's such a poo hole at the moment.
And I was just like, this is really gonna happen. And then the dragon put its head in the way, and I'm like, oh shit, Jaime is gonna die. And then Bronn, I assume it's
Bronn, yeah. But like, there are a couple of really, really cool things in this. So just in terms of just really cool shots.
Yes.
Like, so to the credit of this season of Game of Thrones, now we're talking movie-ish stuff, right? It's been very interestingly shot compared to, and edited compared to normal. Like, it's a couple of episodes ago when they did Sam, and they showed Sam at the whatever the fuck he is, the Citadel, and there's that weird sort of fast time cut, which is something you've never seen in Game of Thrones before. In the same way with this one, they did 2 West Wing shots.
Walk and
talks. I was like, all right, fair enough. Walk and talk's pretty cool. And just sort of as the Dothraki ran toward the Lannisters, it's just sort of that cool sort of sweeping shot over the top where the dragons come out of the clouds, and it's then the sort of the side shot as they all run. Like, they are standard shots, but to the credit of the show with the CG, notice, because this is something that Max from the community pointed out. The episode is 10 minutes shorter than all the other episodes. It's because they just ran out of money.
Maybe.
That's a theory anyway. Because it's like, well, we blew our CG budget. That's done.
Yeah.
And there was like some really cool shit. And there was some really cool side shot of the dragon just tearing up the fucking ground with the fire. There's some really cool shit. And because the beginning of the fight is all from somewhat Daenerys' angle and the Dothraki, so you see them coming in and just mowing shit down. Okay, and then it's about halfway through, the tide turns and everything gets shot from the Lannister side, so you get to see more of that chaos. It's all on the ground, and you sort of see Jaime taking it all in and seeing people literally in ash.
Yeah, that like burnt him to a crisp and to ash.
Like literal ash.
That's awesome.
And then there's just, there's a lot of like sort of low shots, sort of like frantic, and then with the low shots there's smoke, and then there's the dragon that flies over the top, and it was kind of like a bombing run, sort of almost. Like it was really cool. Credit to whoever did who was the DP for this. It's awesome.
Well, you can tell like it's going to be a good episode when the producers DB Weiss and David Benioff write the episode.
Yeah,
it's going to be an epic one. And even just things like, because it's getting to the point where
but if you want to talk about writing, we'll get there in a sec. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, it's getting to the point where like it's ridiculous that they could get in the boat and travel to there during that time, and time is just thrown out of the way.
Yeah, time is not important.
When it'll take Arya Stark 3 seasons to get somewhere, she like turns up. But it was awesome. Now it gets to the point where they're like, fan fiction time, Arya's gonna meet everybody, and then she turns up.
It's so good to see all these characters come back together. Like it's really cool.
Especially Arya when she went and talked to the guards, and the guards are like, fuck off, and she's like, get Maester so and so, and they're like, who's that? They don't live here. And she's like, all right, well,
get Lady Stark.
Yeah, well, she's like, get Jon Snow. And he's like, he's not here either. And she's like, well, who is here? And like, Lady Stark. And she's like, which one? And they're like, well, shouldn't you know? And she's like, well, go get Sansa and tell her that Arya Stark's here, her sister. And it's like, she's just being a smart, because she knows, and she sits down and she knows it's her home, and she's looking around. And really, Winterfell is like what is it? Like a
court.
Yeah, a courtyard, and then just like a balcony, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And then other bits at the back. But that was awesome, seeing them come together and just not wondering what they're going to say to each other. I wanted it to be more reunion-y. It was kind of like at the end they hugged more, but they were just kind of like talking.
Yeah, because seeing as they're all sort of weird now, it's kind of interesting.
Everybody seems a bit weird, yeah.
But there are a lot of really cool things, as once again that Josh pointed out to me, just a lot of how incredibly well written and the attention to detail that was it DB Wise and
David Benioff.
Yeah, just the little details they have. So there's where Littlefinger's talking to Bran.
Yes.
And he goes, chaos is a ladder. That is a conversation that Littlefinger had with Varys in like season 3. He's essentially saying that chaos is a ladder and you need to be on top of it. You need to be at the top, at the peak of the ladder.
So when it falls over...
when it falls over, you are above it.
Okay.
And that's sort of the point. So he's like saying, I'm really sorry about all this chaos that you have to deal with it. And he's like, what the fuck? How does he know? Like, the conversation I had like 4 years ago. That was really, really cool. On top of that, there was little cool things, just like a little throw line where Jon Snow and Beardy, the
Onion King.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They walk and they have this discussion. It's like, how many people how many, what's the army? Is it 10,000 or less? He's like, fewer. Like, you grab an artist in, because that's what Stannis did to him back in the day. It's this cool little throwbacks. And another example is when Jaime Lannister falls into the water. The way he's falling is very almost visually identical to Bran falling out of the building. There's 2 lines from Robert Baratheon in the first season, which is, you never meet a Dothraki in an open field. The second is he talks about Jaime Lannister and how during a particular battle he just bum rushed him with a spear. Like, Jaime tried to bum rush Robert Baratheon with a spear.
Yeah,
that's exactly what happened. So because I think the exact quote is he tried to rush me with a spear, thinking the entire war could be changed in one action.
See, that's why Maesters like Sam are going to win the war, because he's taking. Same with Tyrion. Tyrion's one who's knowledgeable, but even he's like making mistakes now. But what I thought initially was it was cool because people are finally listening to Tyrion Lannister, who's a good strategist. But then it hasn't really worked out for him at the moment.
This is PopCorn, the Game of Thrones cast.
Yeah. That being said, let's talk about some movie news.
Woo!
Let's get into the movies.
What do you got for us?
What I'm excited for is Deadpool 2 has just started shooting.
Yeah, I saw in the Kind of Funny group, Kind of Funny, another YouTube channel, they have a cool little community group as well.
Yeah.
One of the guys is like, hey, my buddy just sent me these pictures. They're literally filming outside of his apartment right now. And they're like, photos from the guy in his room, taking photos of them like fucking around in the street.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Awesome.
There was some set footage leaked of that. But essentially, it's cool. They're starting the marketing up of Ryan Reynolds sending out all these funny tweets. And that released a picture of Domino who is the new character in Deadpool 2, and she was lying on the
Deadpool rug.
Yeah,
the bearskin rug.
The
but
Burt
Deadpool.
Reynolds kind of rug again, in the same kind of pose that they revealed Deadpool's costume for. And now there's two, I guess, promotional images of Josh Brolin as Cable.
Yeah.
How good does it look?
Look, it looks incredible. But at the same point, it also looks like... So there's a guy, an artist that I love, based out of Melbourne. His name is Boss Logic. He appeared... Like, I have actual art up in my house of his. Like, I see him at all conventions. I always go there and buy shit. He's really good at, like, photoshopping images. As in, like, that's what he does. It's a base photo, and he fucks with it, and it makes it really cool.
Nice.
And... whether this is a credit to them or credit to his ability, it looks like a Boss Logic picture. So to me, I'm like, is this a fan picture? Because like it doesn't look like a real picture. It looks photoshopped to the max, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that I don't. If I want to see a promotional picture of Cable, I was expecting more of a in costume.
Well, he is mostly
but in a costume, more realish photo.
Well, I don't know how much of his arm, because he has this techno disease that kind of eats away at his body, and it makes him metallic. So he's got one metal arm. Probably they'll just put a green sleeve on him and CG it.
Well, it's like Robert Downey Jr. He's never in an Iron Man suit anymore.
He was, but not anymore. He's lazy. But Cable is awesome. So Cable was from the X-Men comics, and X-Force. He was the leader of the X-Force. And essentially... my experience with Cable was from X-Men, the animated series, which was awesome. He's like this man out of time. So he's from a possible future. And he was born of Cyclops. So Cyclops is his father, Scott Summers.
Cool.
And Jean Grey's clone, Madeline Pryor, is his mother.
Okay.
And he was born as a baby, Nathan Summers, and then sent to the future and became a hardened warrior and kind of comes back and forth. And... he is like, he's got grey hair and this scar across his eye, and he's got like this eye that kind of like pulses with electricity, like zzz. And in the animated series, he's like this hard-ass warrior that's been fighting Apocalypse for centuries. And he's like the ultimate commando, kind of like the Punisher, and he's got like hard-ass, no nonsense. He's got mutant powers.
Like every shot I've seen with him is him like with like an M16 in one arm, and it's like slung over the back.
Massive
like,
gun.
Looks like he's trying to fuck up something. He's gonna fuck someone's day up.
Yeah, and he's a good contrast to Deadpool, because Deadpool's always fucking around and cutting jokes, and he's like always really serious, and they butt heads a lot. And even at the end of Deadpool, when they announce, Cable's going to be in it, we don't know who it's going to be yet, but it's going to be awesome, blah blah blah, and now they're paying off on that promise.
What's really interesting though, from a quote unquote business perspective, I guess, in terms of Josh Brolin, Thanos, like that, he's crossing ties,
and he's with DC with Jonah Hex, because that's still a thing.
Well, Jonah Hex is was that the older? Is he get announced with Jonah Hex again?
Maybe. No, that was the old DC. But
yes,
still,
that don't count.
It's still in the DC pile.
It is, but it's not in the DC EU or whatever the fuck it's called now.
Maybe. Yeah, but
so it's very interesting that they've. I guess they can't say, well, you're Thanos. You've been a bit actor in our movies for a while now. You can't do anything else. It doesn't really make sense. So,
and
I'm curious on the contract deal for him to be Cable.
Well, Ryan Reynolds is making fun of it as well. He was like sending out some tweets to Tom Holland, because there is that connection of Josh Brolin being in both Infinity War and also Deadpool 2. But it looks awesome.
It does look cool.
I'm excited.
Not knowing much about Cable as a character or Domino, I'm really interested.
And speaking of Netflix, like we were a whole subject ago, check out this segue, Ryan.
So it turns out Netflix recently made a deal with Disney. Did I say Disney made a deal with Disney, or Disney made a deal with Netflix?
You said Netflix made a deal with Disney.
Cool, my brain's gonna be broken, so I don't know.
But I don't
Disney
think
made a deal with Netflix to be the exclusive place to find Disney movies.
Oh.
Whether that be the newer CG ones, whether it be some of the old school animated ones, that's where they live.
Okay.
This week, they announced, fuck that deal, we're gonna go make our own Netflix subscription service just for Disney things. One, it's fucking dumb. So dumb. What do you think? I'll get into why it's dumb. But.
Well, there's a lot of Disney back catalog. Like every animated series, every TV series, every movie would fill a massive library of Disney Channel. But you don't want it to be the Disney Channel where it's just kids shows as well. Like there's a lot of Disney produced adult dramas. But then again, Disney
Yeah,
are
but, like-
clever and they've got subsidiaries, so it's not.
Is that technically Star Wars? Is that technically...
Well, Star Wars would be, but like there's ones that, like, I don't know what the company's called. Let's say it's Touchstone Pictures.
Yeah.
Is a division of Disney, so they can make M-rated movies, but it doesn't tarnish the Disney brand. But I think it will be heavily Disney.
I think it's heavily Disney, as in like Disney.
Yeah.
Walt Disney Pictures.
Which I think it'd be good for kids to have.
Yeah,
But you
look,
don't want
it's
to
a
pay
great
for
idea,
another
but
subscription service.
My issue with it comes from the fact it's another subscription service.
Yeah.
The whole idea subscription services were sort of this advantage to cable. To not cable from you got
Josh Brolin.
Speaking of cable, that'd been a great segue. Not Josh Brolin, but in terms of like Foxtel and pay TV, the whole idea is this is for you to cut your cable and just use Netflix.
Yes.
And then so in Australia alone, we only have a handful. We have Netflix, we have Stan, Amazon Prime just came here.
Hulu.
There was Hulu's not available here,
Huh?
but it's not available. It's US only. But
Should be.
It fucking should be here.
Good.
And there's QuickFlix, which sort of died the ass. And there's like Foxtel now or whatever, which is the thing. So we already have like what 4 or 5 here in Australia.
10 Play.
In the US, you've got Netflix, Hulu, Amazon. CW has its own one for some reason. HBO. Like there's so many that this is unnecessary. I think as much as I understand why they would do it from a business perspective, it's simple as all our stuff is here. Every dollar that comes to us. There's no secondary person we need to pay because it's all in-house with Disney. And the Disney name is strong enough to be able to survive that, I think. But it just seems a little weird. Like, wouldn't you think even an exclusive deal with Netflix would have made them millions of dollars?
Yeah, but they can make billions of dollars. They don't want millions. Who wants millions? If you're Disney, get it all billions.
Yeah, it's just...
But do you think it'll get to the stage where you have, like, essentially Hulu and Netflix and Stan become channels like 7, 8, 9, and 10?
That's essentially what it's becoming, right? Especially in the US. So,
rather than Netflix just being everything?
So the whole idea, as I said, the whole idea was to cut cable. And now you're actually probably paying more... for 8 different subscription services.
Yeah, true. How much does it cost?
For Netflix, we have because we have a 4K setup and the internet that can support it. We have the 4K Netflix.
Okay.
That's $17. Just went up
A month?
Yep.
That's awesome.
Don't get me wrong, it's a good price.
Because then Netflix, everyone was like, you can share it with 4 people. So I've never paid for Netflix. So it's always been somebody else's Netflix.
Whose Netflix are you using?
Jacinta's.
Nice.
Yeah. Which is her husband, Kenny's.
Yeah.
So, and then the 4
Her
people use
ex-husband
that.
Kenny make it even better.
Ex-husband there. So yeah, like there's 4 people. Sometimes it'll drop out when somebody else is using it because the mum's using it, or the girlfriend's using it, or the sister's using it, or the brother's using it. But yeah, it's cool that you never have to pay for it.
Yeah, and there's Stan as well, which we have Stan here as well.
That's only because Better Call Saul's on it.
Yeah, it's only because there's a lot of things because we have a VPN here as well, so we get the US Netflix, but that VPN is shoddy as shit. That's totally legal.
Okay.
But sometimes it doesn't want to work. So then it's like, well, whatever's not on Australian Netflix, they have hiccups all of a sudden, is normally on Stan.
But there's so many times when I search for something and it irks me that it's not there. It knows what it is. Other people have searched it. So I'll be like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie. And I'll say, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie? Yes. No, we don't have that. We might have had it once upon a time. We don't have it anymore. Like, I think it's like 6 out of 10 times it doesn't have what I want.
It's probably on the US one. The US one has like 30,000 titles.
Well, it's
on
Australian one, yeah.
See, that would be the other benefit, right? So a lot of shows will drop off from Netflix because that's what the licensing agreement expires.
Yeah.
If it's Disney, that shit ain't going anywhere because it's Disney. Whose licensing do they have to pay? Theirs.
But then they'll probably still take things on and off just to kind of...
Well, as we know, Disney love to vault shit for no reason. Like when my wife wanted to get the Disney set for on Blu-ray, right? Because she likes Disney films, and she thought it'd be a really cool sort of thing for James, her son. Yeah. So she's been trying to get them bit by bit, but there are some that are just walled off. It's like, that one's gone back into the Disney vault. It's not coming for
They have
for a
like
while.
the diamond version.
That's what I mean. There's the vault, and then when they come out of the vault, they come out as the diamond version.
Because I remember I was trying to get Beauty and the Beast a while ago, and you can't get it anymore.
You can't. It's impossible.
And then they'll release a new edition you can get, and then you'll have to buy that before they close it off again.
Yeah.
Clever.
Dirt.
So, speaking of dirt, what's the dirt this week? What's our feature?
Well, our feature this week is... So I like how he pans to me, even though this is technically his show. He should be running this shit, but he still swings it my way. So, same as our other show on the channel for the players, we do have you, the viewer, involved. We have a website called popculturist.com/questions. where you go in there, you can contribute questions to the show. We'll discuss it, we'll debate it. We may even make it the topic of the show like we have this week. So, our good friend, Craig the intern.
Now, it's a beautifully worded question. That's why I threw it to you, because it's so elaborately worded. I didn't want to paraphrase it and ruin the impact.
And seeing as the fact that I just burnt my way through it before.
Yes.
Can you make some hold music while I pull it up?
Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, that's very somber. I was having a bit more.
I'm just doing thinking music from Jeopardy.
Okay, here it is. Craig the intern asks, with technology getting better and better, and the special effects of some of the biggest sci-fi blockbusters, of my life at least, slowly getting older and older, do you think the newer tech will make the older classics harder to watch, or is a good movie always just a good movie? Ponder
deep
face.
question.
So essentially the whole idea is, are movies tougher to watch now because the CG is garbage comparatively?
Well, I think now, where we are currently, we've kind of hit the ceiling of special effects. Photorealistic special effects. I think it'll get to the point where they'll have better CG humans. They keep progressing it and getting better and better, from like Jeff Bridges in Tron Legacy, and then the de-aging of characters like Kurt Russell in Guardians of the Galaxy, or
Kurt Russell.
Robert Downey Jr. in Captain America Civil War. Was it Civil War? Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think that'll get better. Grand Moff Tarkin in Rogue One. But like Transformers, you don't even question it. They're just like giant robots transforming and blowing shit up and interacting with everything. And it's gotten to that point where it's not like amazing anymore. It's just like, yeah, that's happened.
I think where Craig's coming from is the whole idea of special effects being the selling point of a movie, being the biggest push, like as in the center focus.
Yeah, it was for a while.
Which it isn't now. A lot of the time, there is so much CG in the background that you don't notice.
Yeah.
An example would be, I have a reason to believe that 80% of the cars in Fast and the Furious 8 that came out a couple of months ago, 80% of those cars are fake.
I can probably guess that 100% of the cars in Cars are CG.
I dispute that, but
look it up.
We'll let you guys.
Well, again, speaking of Game of Thrones, I went to the Game of Thrones exhibit, and they had. You didn't really have to go to the Game of Thrones exhibit. You could look it on YouTube, but I did, where it would show let's say they're in Scotland shooting a castle, and then it would CG the castle in, then it would CG hills in, then it would CG clouds in, then it would CG birds in, and they're things you don't even notice. You assume that they're all there.
Yeah.
You know, like things you don't even notice, like you're saying, are everywhere. So in that sense, that's just like background kind of stuff. What's the last spectacle movie that you were like, oh my god, the special effects, they're pushing it, you need to see
probably
it?
Doctor Strange.
Really?
Well, because I watched that. I should have mentioned that at the start, because I watched that just recently, and like that in time, because of all the magic, that entire movie is special effects.
Yeah, but then you get to the end with Dormammu, and it looks horrible.
Dormammu, yeah,
it looks horrible.
It was like Ripley, like as in, because that's when special effects becomes front and center.
Yeah.
And we're also at a place now with 4K Ultra HD. Unless that shit looks schmick, it looks like trash. Don't get me wrong. I can't make any better special effects. So when I say it looks like trash, I can't make better. So I'd let you all know. But we're rewatching Doctor Strange. There were some moments like when they're in the London streets and Cheap Man's Kate Blanchett. What's her name? Tilda Swinton.
Tilda Swinton.
Yeah.
Cheap Man's Kate Blanchett.
Yeah, when she turns the world on its side and she jumps, and it's clearly not her, and it's super obvious jump. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's another movie that we saw recently that had really questionable CGI and it's sort of hit and miss? Like there were moments where it looked fucking schmick. Was Kong one of them?
I think Wonder Woman was one of them.
One woman had moments, yeah.
There was some rubbery kind of people.
And like I think that's like when with humans, that's when the uncanny valley kicks in, and we instantly pick up weird shit with humans. But with backgrounds, we don't know. An example: Mad Max Fury Road, a movie that everyone's like, it was made with almost no CGI. Fuck off, it wasn't. There is a ton of CGI in that movie.
Yeah.
But it's mostly background CGI. It's add additional flames. It's when they when they're driving down that little valley. There was
no valley.
There is no gorge.
Yeah.
They're just driving down some open ass desert.
Yeah. I don't think it ruins, or like personally, because I like the kitsch of things. Like King Kong 1933. I love the stop motion. Looks awesome.
Yeah.
All the Ray Harryhausen movies, Clash of the Titans, where it is stop motion, I like. Jurassic Park was kind of the pinnacle of modern special effects, where you can watch Jurassic Park now and it holds up.
See, the thing with Jurassic Park is what made it so fantastic was that mix of the animatronics and the CG, because the CG was used to supplement the animatronics, well, not vice versa. And I think that was sort of where its strength came from. So with The Lost World, which I'm, in the pilot, which you can see at facebook.com/group/ the PopCulturists, become a community member. You can see that thing for free. You and Josh talked about The Lost World, and he was like, "Ooh, it's garbage," and you're like, "That's pretty good." I listened to it, I'm like, "The Lost World's fucking great." I really enjoyed that film. And like when you mentioned Jurassic Park, that T-Rex looks fucking real. Yeah, it does. There are moments in The Lost World where it's like, that looks real too. There's clear moments where you're like, that is real, and you can't question that shit, and that's awesome. But there's another example. My wife is currently watching Once Upon a Time. There is the CG in that show is so hit and miss, and jarringly hit and miss. It actually throws me out of the show. Like, mind you, I'm not invested in the show anyway. But like, to Craig's point, there are movies that I physically cannot watch anymore because it throws me out of it.
Like what? There was a bad time in the 90s after Jurassic Park where there'd be horrible CG, like Mortal Kombat, where they had Reptile. Do you remember that? And
no.
He was like really horrible CG with no render on it, and it just looked bad.
But granted, there are some movies like B grade movies like Sharktopus or Sharknado, which is just beautifully shit.
But that's why it's good. Like I'm trying to think of like a movie like The Planet of the Apes, like Rise of the Planet of the Apes, the first one of the new trilogy. It's not as good as the CG now by far, and it's jumped between films, but it doesn't make it any less. Like, you still, okay, he's a monkey, he's doing things. You get what's happening. Just because it doesn't look amazingly photorealistic now 10 years later, doesn't make it any less good. It's not going to stop me.
Which, don't get me wrong, like, this is something I deal with games all the time. An example, I keep saying an example because I just need to back up my thoughts with something. So with Crash Bandicoot, I'm playing that. I'm like, this looks about as good as I remember it looking, because when I played it when I was younger, this is what I thought it looked like. Go back to the original, this looks like hot trash. But and that's the other thing. So with that rose tinted glasses, you kind of look back and you're like, that's pretty fucking cool. Like there, it's trying to find a specific example that throws me out of the movie is tough. Because I said
You made that statement.
I did make that statement. I've got to back it up now. I'm trying to think. Keep talking while I think.
Special effects spectacles don't really happen much anymore, I guess. Star Wars was the big one that kind of pushed practical effects, and big summer blockbusters built around special effects. Then in the 90s, like Independence Day was a big one that really was like showing off the special effects. Twister was another one where the digital effects of backgrounds and storms and things like that look real. Star Wars Episode 1, I think, was a big push for George Lucas to try to show what CG can do. And there was a big thing about, the restriction on him having to wait until 1999 to achieve the vision that he wanted because it wasn't up to par. And the same with James Cameron. James Cameron had the idea for Avatar even before Titanic. And he had to wait until technology reached a point that he could properly convey his vision. So there's, you rarely see the blockbusters that depend on CG anymore, and I think that's the kind of thing. And I think those are the ones that would suffer rewatching.
And that is the good transition as well. Fuck, I can't. There's an example on the tip of my tongue. I can't get it, and it is frustrating me. Here we go, Jumanji. I love Jumanji. You rewatch that Stampede, all those fucking monkeys, and it's like,
Yeah,
Oh.
it doesn't make me watch it any less,
don't get me
but
wrong.
it is jarring.
Still like that movie, but like normally I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, they're
Like,
probably
when I
washed
say
out.
it throws me out of it, it drops the quote unquote immersion.
Yeah.
With the way that CG is now, it increases the immersion of the experience. So like you become part of this world without realizing. Like watching Game of Thrones, like that's not a real dragon, but I'm like, that's a dragon. You know what I mean? It's just these cool moments where you look at it and you're like, King's Landing looks like a real place. Another example. This not the Citadel, whatever the Sparrow King was in when that shit exploded like last season. That entire shot is CG. Like, it looks like a real town. And they make like, maybe they just CG'd the middle part in, like not all of it.
Well, another thing is like in TV, in The Flash, anytime that the Flash is running through the city, the Flash is CG, the road CG, the buildings are CG, everything is CG.
They've literally built a CG world, like a block, and then they run it, tell it where they want it to run to, and then it does that.
Yeah. I think one example, but then again, I like it. Blade 2 had this thing where you'd see like Wesley Snipes jump, and then it would be CG Gumby Wesley Snipes, and he'd roll, and then he'd land.
It's that
like
broken physics that kind of throws me, yeah.
And I like it's kitschy, but it's very obvious that it's like Rubber Man time.
Harry Potter Chamber of Secrets, Neville Longbottom or is it Harry?
Harry in the toilets.
Harry in the toilets on top. That's on top of the troll.
Yeah.
When there's on the broomstick and he goes whoa, and and he falls.
Legolas on the top of the cave troll, like shooting at
exactly
arrows.
that. But they haven't quite got the weight of the CG down, which is really
but
with the weight of like a car, they can easily be calculated for, and it kind of works.
Yeah, and even then, in Wonder Woman, still, it just depends. I mean, there's a difference between it looking realistic and moving realistic. But again, it's all like special effects, getting better as they go along. But I think it adds a kitsch value to things. I like it. See,
and for me, I'll admit, I am a graphic visual snob. You know what I mean? Like now we're getting naughty. Like I used to download like the shit, whatever the smallest. Back in my pirating days before I had like internet where I can stream shit. Whatever the smallest file was, that's enough.
Yeah.
It looks like grainy trash. I'm like, that's good enough. Now, don't get me anywhere near that. I've got this copy of this show. I'm like, okay, cool. Nope.
I got a DVD to watch.
Like, no, I will never watch a DVD.
I got a Blu-ray. No, it's not 4K.
No, Blu-ray I'm okay with it because the 4Ks are noticeably more expensive. I'm not quite there yet.
Yet.
Yeah. And like so for me, yeah, I find it hard to go back and watch some things because of it. Because with 4K, it does tarnish that special effect.
Yeah, special effects definitely, like even watching anything like Stargate, Legends of Tomorrow, like it all looks like they're on a horrible, crappy set.
Yeah, because like Legends of Tomorrow, remember you and I watched the first episode of Legends of Tomorrow, and the quality of my TV and like just the quality of the file it was a high quality copy.
Stream.
Blu-rays stream. It literally looks like they're standing next to a giant polystyrene rock.
Yeah.
And it's super obvious.
Yeah, and that's hard to get past. That's jarring once you get into the story and stuff. But yeah, seeing that, and that's not necessarily CG, it's just the quality of the image. And like I remember when Lost became HD and you could see every pore on the actors' faces. Like Saeed had all these little pocket holes in his face that you'd never noticed before, and they're just distracting.
Yeah, this sounds horribly racist, but like high definition, black people look the best in high definition. I don't know what it is. They look awesome.
What do you mean?
Just the finer details of their face.
Okay.
And like I don't know, beards look great in HD as well. When you can almost see like Logan when Hugh Jackman has that sweet beard, you can see almost like the little itty bitty hairs.
The little curly beard.
Oh, it's beautiful. But that's all movies that were in the past. What's coming out in the future? What movies are coming out this weekend? So with this airing today on the Friday, what movies hit screens yesterday?
Yesterday, I believe that it is finally Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets.
That movie looks poo.
What? It looks awesome.
It looks poo.
Why does it look poo?
Well, I guess I'm not a big fan of Cara Delevingne and weird fucking face dude.
Dane DeHaan.
Yeah. Like, you couldn't have picked the most two weirdest face people in the world.
Yeah, I don't like looking at them, yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't like looking at them. When him as the Green Goblin, I'm like, can you not have a face? Like, I know it's really a horrible thing to say. Like, Cara Delevingne is interesting. Like, some angles, she's attractive. Some angles, not. I think it's the eyebrows. I don't like the big eyebrows. I have no interest in watching this film purely because they're the two people in it.
I think it's the first film in a long time that I'm excited to see this sci-fi world. Like, it's been a bit same and everything. And there's, like, interesting, like, creatures.
Well, I have reason to believe Valerian kind of flopped in the US, so I'm not expecting big things out of it.
Don't say that. Yeah, apparently it's bad.
Yeah.
But then again...
Isn't Dark Tower out now? Or soon?
End of the month, Dark Tower's coming out. But again, Dark Tower flopped and nobody liked that.
Speaking of flops, I've got my brain going for it.
Because this year, as I've always said, has been a great year for movies. There's been rarely any bad movies. Like, the big summer...
Not average movies, yeah.
Not really. Like, every year they bring out the summer 20 movies. And all of them have been like, you spent that much money on this and you got it wrong. Batman v Superman, all this crap. And now this year, they've all been actually pretty good. Pretty average, pretty good.
Yeah.
Some great.
I've not seen any... Like, I've not watched a movie that made me actively go, ugh. Like, even when I left, like, Baywatch, poo.
Yeah, but that was like lower
I still
tier.
enjoyed myself in that film.
Okay.
I came out, I'm like, that movie was fine.
But then these ones, from the sounds of it, the Valerian and the Dark Tower, this is when they're starting to hit the...
yeah, we're hitting that little bit of the end of the... The summer's done now in the US. So we're heading into our spring, their fall. Fall's quiet period.
Still some exciting things.
Is it the only movie coming out of notoriety this week?
Yeah, that's the only big one.
What's coming out next week?
That's for next week to find out.
What's coming out next week?
We don't want to give away spoilers.
Then put this information up online. What's coming next week?
I don't know.
Oh, fuck's sake. So why does Valerian interest you? Why pull this up?
Why? Because it's directed by Luc Besson, who
Who's
did
Luc Besson?
He's a French film director who made La Femme Nikita and The Professional. And then he came to the United States and made The Fifth Element.
Oh, what?
And The Fifth Element's... That's got special effects that hold up.
Yeah.
And he's kind of taken a backseat to directing, mostly producing like Taken and Shoot 'Em Up, I think, as well. All those kind of slick gunplay assassin-y movies. And now he's returned to direct to do this. And it's based on the 1967 graphic novel.
You totally forgot that Annabelle the Creation.
No, I didn't forget that. Week. I didn't forget that at all. Annabelle the Creation comes out. There you go.
Yeah, these are all the movies that are coming. The other movies coming out August 10. So August 17, which is next week, which we'll probably talk about again next week, is The Dark Tower.
Yeah.
So I was kind of right. It's coming out.
Kind of right. But yeah, Annabelle. I mean, you like The Conjuring.
Love The Conjuring. And Conjuring 2.
And she played
Conjuring
a small
2
part.
May actually be better.
It started out as like a small part, which was good. I liked it in The Conjuring, where they had that room full of crazy crap that they store, and then they kind of like, oh, there's the doll. And then as the end of the movie starts to come around, spoilers, they're doing their own thing, and in the meantime, their child's at their house, and the doll gets out. And then you're like, oh, shit. And then they made that stupid Annabelle spin-off, which was just horrible. I did see that in cinemas, and it was just like, meh. The cool thing was it was set around... like I think it was in the 60s, the Charles Manson era, and there were those kind of Manson murders going on, and they were blaming it on those kind of people when it was actually the doll. So it had a gimmick to it, but then it was just forgettable. Dolls.
Speaking of forgettable, that was the first episode of PopCorn, the PopCulturists Movie Podcast. Sessions start on Friday, 9 a.m. on YouTube and all podcast services around the world. Want to join the conversation, head to facebook.com/thepopculturists, as well as our community group, facebook.com/groups/thepopculturists. We are available on most of the social medias. You head to the Discord channel, have an ongoing chat with us as well. But if you really, really like what we do, head to patreon.com/thepopculturists. There may be a tier that interests Dylan, you. I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Dylan Bowden, and that is a wrap.
Thank you.